The next question was influencer taking steroids, saying it's for optimal hormone levels / health. ... Thoughts. There's many ways you can go with this one.
The majority of influencers who take steroids are doing it because it's going to make them more money.
Yes. Yeah.
And so if they want to wrap this up, you know who's actually a good example of this? What's that kid's name? This European kid. No, I actually give him a lot of credit because he became self-aware. He's in that like kind of Rob Lipset crew of YouTube guys. He's an interesting name. Marjuan. I'm going to look it up because that's not
I know who it is. I like Rob. I know exactly who you're talking about. Yeah. But so I like Rob. I don't know the other guy, but I like Rob a lot.
So this kid, this is a few years back, basically was natural and very lean and working super hard on his business and growing his brand, and was also having a lot of fun, kind of partying or not optimizing sleep, living his life basically between business and socializing, social life, nightlife, whatever. He was in a position where his testosterone levels were very low. He was extremely lean. He wasn't getting enough sleep. His nutrition wasn't dialed in, so his T levels were low. And so he got on testosterone to optimize his levels and ended up regretting it and made some YouTube videos about, I'll find his YouTube and we'll throw a link to the video in the show notes, but made some videos about how he regretted that decision. I think that's a great example of someone who's honest and self-aware about the position they were in and then took a step back from it rather than just leaning harder into it. And I see this all the time in non-influencers as well, which is guys who are living very suboptimally, right? Like not training consistently, not getting enough sleep, vaping, drinking tons of alcohol, not eating a nutritionally dense diet, like just not doing any of the right things, carrying excess body fat, and then get their testosterone levels checked and realize they're low. And step number one is, I better get on 200 mgs of test a week. It's like, well, step number one might be sleeping 7.5 hours instead of 4 hours a night. Step number one might be having 0 to 5 drinks a week instead of 30 to 40 drinks a week. There are all these steps that you can take to quote unquote optimize your testosterone levels that aren't injecting testosterone. So there's a handful of scatterbrained thoughts about the question.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important, especially for consumers, to be aware of it. And the way that this woman, like influencer taking steroids, saying it's for optimal hormone levels / health thoughts. I think that there's an argument to be made, or not an argument to be made. It's not even an argument. I think it's clear that some people need hormone replacement therapy for their health. I think they do. I think some men do really, like, they need
25-year-olds.
No. I mean, not most 25-year-olds. No, that's for sure.
A rounding error to 0 25-year-olds.
Correct. But maybe from like 40 on, and 40 is pretty young still for whatever it's worth. But I would say from like 40 on, probably 50 up. But generally, we could say 40 on. And there are outliers in their 20s and 30s, but very rarely, where it's important. In the same way that women can get on hormone replacement therapy for. It's funny, like we were talking in the mentorship. They're like double standards. One of them is in reverse. Is how it's like a double. Like women will get on hormone replacement therapy, and it's like doctors don't bat an eye at it. It's not an issue, but an older guy who has serious testosterone issues, like, is having trouble finding a way to get testosterone because of the cultural views of testosterone, judgments by it. Yeah. So there are men who need it to optimize their health. But what you said, I think, is the most accurate perspective, which is, especially when we're talking about like influencers, most influencers are not doing it for their health and hormone optimization. They're doing it because they want an insane physique that will, number one, boost their own ego, that will fuel their minimize their own insecurities, which many influencers have severe body dysmorphia and insecurities around how they look, especially when they're comparing themselves to other influencers who are also on steroids, which fuels them to take more and more and more and more. And then also as a byproduct of getting a crazy physique, also making more money, more sponsorships, more views. I mean, there's no question that you could have two influencers making the exact same educational content, but one of them has a physique that's just fucking outrageous. That influencer will inherently get more views, and just simply because, oh my God, that's a crazy physique that they have. So there are monetary benefits and social proof benefits that come from that. I just think it's also worthwhile to know, I'm not talking about from the influencer perspective. I'm talking more from like your neighbor down the street, 55 years old.
55 is
actually legitimately need it, and for like don't judge them based on like maybe they actually need it. Whereas someone who's an influencer who's like, they look like they've been roided out their whole fucking life, and they like got traps to their ears, and like they're like 4%, 6% body fat year round, and like, yeah, I'm just on TRT. It's like, no, all right, come on, that's different. We're talking about just the average everyday individual. It's worth noting that it can be used from a health optimization perspective.